Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're all very welcome to the Bogland Theatre, or this backstage theatre, should I say. Or Ballymahan to the last. My name is Adrian Duncan, by the way. And I'm MC for the evening, so I hope to keep things running very smoothly. Anyway, you're all very welcome to the backstage theatre on this, the occasion of the launch of Alan McGonagle's first and new novel, Ithaca. This event is being sponsored by Longford County Council through the kind offices of the County Council Arts Officer Fergus Kennedy, and we wish to thank him very much for that.
Now we come to the main event of the evening, if you like, the famous interview. And our interviewer this evening is Nuala McGonagle, who is a writer, and she is originally from Dublin, but she lives now in East Galway. Her fifth short story collection, Joyride in Jupiter, will appear in 2017. And she has published her third novel, Miss Emily, about the poet Emily Dixon and her Irish maid. Miss Emily was shortlisted for the Bord Gosh Energy Eastern Book Club Novel of the Year 2015 and is currently longlisted for the 2017 Dublin International Literary Award. Nuala's fourth novel, Becoming Belle, is forthcoming, and she is working on her fourth poetry collection also. So would you please give a big hand for Nuala McGonagle and Alan McGonagle.
Thanks, Adrian.
Thanks.
So, welcome everybody, and firstly, huge congratulations, Alan. Picador are one of the UK's top publishers, and it must be a great feeling to have not just one book out with them, but to have another one forthcoming as well.
Yeah, I mean, Picador, doesn't even really enter the dream for starters, at least not the kinds of dreams I'm used to or have. And yeah, I remember when the first manuscript was submitted, Ivan Mulcahy over in London, he rang me one Friday morning towards the tail end of 2015, and he said that I wouldn't usually say this to an author, but yeah, the main man at Picador has made a strong connection with the book, and he needs to talk to some people over the weekend. He's going to do that. I'll call you back maybe into next week. But he got back to me first thing on the following Monday morning, and he said to me, prepare to be very happy. Not only do they want your first book, they want your second book. I can't really recall what he said after that. It's just, I was on the ground, the heart was coming out through the chest. Yeah, I just went into a tailspin really. I probably haven't stopped spinning since.
This is the thing, we are in the business of writing books, but the whole business is centred around selling them. So in a sense, you have to sell yourself to your agent, Ivan. Ivan has to sell it to the editor. The editor has to sell it even within the company. Yeah. It's a crazy business.
It is, yeah.
The novel is about friendship at its heart, but it's also about neglect.
Yeah.
And about the parallel lives that children and adults lead, particularly when the adult who's supposed to be responsible for the child is neglecting the child.
That's right, yeah. Yeah. It's a good question to almost start with. We're just listening to you. What occurred to me during it was, Jason, who is the child, he was almost having to leave his childnesshood behind him quite early and almost become an adult, because the Jacinta, the mother character, she wasn't being an adult or a parent, or at least not as society perhaps would wish or deem a parent should be. So she seemed to be becoming like the child. So between the two of them, you have one child and one adult, but not perhaps in the right combination.
Yeah, it's a bit of a roller coaster for Jason. He he's severely neglected. I mean, she's not altogether likeable because she's such a bad mother. But we do understand as readers that she's in pain.
Yes.
And so we do empathise with her, but sometimes we do want to, set her on the right path and say, look...
At least shake her.
Yeah, because even when the child comes to her with, requests or with needs, she turns on this jokey mode. She'll say, I'm going to throw you into the septic tank.
That's right, yeah.
Or,
I couldn't resist that line.
When he says, and he's a fantasist. He's a boy on a quest, and he's an unusual, eccentric child. But he will come to her, and she'll say, "Where are you going?" And he'll say, "Well, I'm going down to rob the bank." And she'll go, "Grand, so off you go."
Yeah.
So her style of parenting is very weak.
Yes, I mean, she's very, she's there, but she's not there. And I mean, with that character, I wasn't all that sure I liked her myself as a writer, as certainly early on in the novel. But I don't know, it almost happened. There was one morning, she just woke up and poured herself a glass of vodka, knocked it back quickly, and more or less, looked at me, the writer now I'm talking about, and said, "Look at, you look after me, and if anything happens to me, even in your dreams, you better wake up and apologise." And after that, I started to have a grudging admiration, dare I say it, and respect for her. And I realised, though she's, she comes with a pocket full of flaws and glitches, and she is neglectful. She's also quite still a young person in the book. She's not quite 30 when we first meet her. And so she's, as far as I'm concerned, she would still have dreams and ambitions and wishes, and by extension, frustrations and disappointments. And so perhaps she's lashing out in the only way she knows how to, at least, for the duration of the narrative.
Yeah, she's not actively unkind to Jason. She's just, she's self-medicating with both alcohol and with sex.
Yeah.
And she's just no more than himself, who's a bit of a fantasist or whatever. She is as well. She's looking for escape.
That's right. And that's the thing, whether Jason, he certainly doesn't realise it initially, but whether he wants to accept it or not, he's a chip off the old block. The old block just doesn't happen to be the person that he thinks it is, or wants it to be, perhaps, to begin with.
Yeah, he's definitely as smart as she is,
Yeah.
And then there's the girl, Jason. Jason spends a lot of time outdoors, probably as we all did as 11-year-olds.
Yeah.
And he meets a girl who's quite mysterious and enigmatic. She's very, very clever. She's clearly educated, but we also realise she's neglected too.
Yeah.
And the two meet and they form a tentative friendship. He's quite needy towards her. He's looking for a sort of a little saviour.
Yeah.
But she's sort of aloof but very needy, and also kind of worryingly she's quite sexualised in the way she speaks.
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of there's a lot of banter, a lot of it is lewd. A lot of it is innocent lewdness as well. They are still quite young, but I think that's symptomatic of the fact that these two pair of lost souls, rudderless boy and girl, they're having to grow up a little bit faster than one would wish for a pair so young to have to grow up. And I do think they both in a way do become a crutch for her. The girl becomes another symbol or symptom, if you like, of Jason's. He's just in so much need of some sort of foothold in the world, and along with his other, this elusive quest for this absent father figure or parent figure, and the girl becomes another symptom of this absence or gaping hole in his life, and he's only too happy eventually anyway to grasp it when he can.
Yeah, I think you play a lovely game with the reader around the girl, because we're not sure about her at all. We're not sure even if she's as real as he thinks she is.
And hence, she remains unnamed.
Which I love,
we're never allowed inside, her home, for example. We see plenty inside Jason's home, but they're out together on on the streets all the time, in the neighbourhood, you know, on the stomping ground that they claim for themselves, very much becomes their territory and little kingdoms, if you like.
Yes, where he commits acts of, what would you call it, vandalism and...
Going up to where the rich people live and doing the graffitiing the various walled off, which, you know, I don't know, this is his little act of revolt. I mean, I think that's part of his shtick. I mean, I don't think he's quite Oliver Twist, but he's far from the artful dodger that he likes to portray himself as, and certainly nowhere near approaching the tough guy characters that he's riffing off, you know, the allusions to the Sopranos and all tough guy gangster movies and the Brando. I mean, this becomes, you know, aspirations, but certainly never never anything that he's going to be able to replicate or emulate.
No. I mean, his eccentricity even comes out in his looks. He looks like a cherub. He's an angel.
Yeah.
He has curly blonde hair and lovely bright blue eyes.
Yeah.
And he's bullied not just for his sweet looks, but for his tendency, and you're probably sick of the comparisons to the Butcher Boy, but, you know, his tendency, like Francie Brady, to speak in a certain way. He has a way of putting things that is, quite frankly, mad in the bog hole town, as he calls it, that he's from.
He frames his expressions and his the way he conveys himself. And obviously, it's just going to irk those who are not used to this mode of expression and attitude, and so and they're lashing out in the only way they're accustomed to or used to. And of course, he comes back for more all the time because it doesn't really bother him.
Yeah, they're quite hard to read, those bullying scenes, particularly the two brothers who he has christened Brains and No Brains.
And No Brains is the dangerous one.
And then the other scenes that are difficult, because it is, you know, as much as it's a book about neglect, it's a book about self-neglect from the point of view of Jacinta, the mother, and also from the point of view of the child, who knows no better, obviously, but he has discovered a way to appease his pain and yet cause pain to himself. Do you want to talk about that?
Well, from the point of view of the self-harm and the pain, I mean, for starters, that is probably one of the big differences. You allude to Francie from the Butcher Boy. I mean, Francie eventually turns his violence, you know, at those around him, whereas Jason, it becomes an inner journey, and we eventually realise that the only person that he is going to be in any way harmful towards is to himself. And this is because he's purging. I mean, I think he has within him a pain. It's invisible, it's hidden, you can't see it. And the only way he can let it out is literally by lashing out at himself.
Yeah, quite heartbreaking to read, but I thought very well done. You know, you didn't linger on those scenes, but you gave us enough to feel pretty heartbroken for the child. His mother, Jacinta, is quite the character. She likes to joyride, so she would rob a neighbour's car and off she'd go. And she loves to drink morning, noon, and night. She owes a lot of money to a lot of people, a lot of men, and her way of paying those debts is with her body, really. And she doesn't conceal this from Jason. So in a sense, he's thrust into this adult role in so many ways, and when the girl comes at him and is trying to get him to touch her, he backs away.
That's right, I could almost ask you the question back. I mean, what do you think about those scenes? I mean, to me this is just Jason. It's a very instinctive reaction, you know, and he's recoiling, which is really reflecting what he's witnessing in the adult world, i.e. his ma and her various boyfriend entertaining antics. He's not quite ready for that, I suspect.
And I think that was really sweet that he was very firm with the girl, you know, that, you know, he wasn't ready. He is only 11 going on 12. 12, but
Yeah.
you know, girls do tend
And
to fast forward
that's
to
what I was going to ask.
puberty.
Do you think that's fair to say that she
Yeah.
would, even though they are the same age effectively, but I do think she would be a little more advanced emotionally and so forth.
But she might think she is,
Yes,
yeah, but she may not be.
Yeah, sure.
Jason describes Jacinta, his mother, as more cockroach than witch, indestructible, he says at one point.
Yeah, but I think he means that as a compliment.
I think he does, and we're actually glad that he uses the word indestructible, because when Ma sort of falls off the rails entirely, we're very worried as readers, you know, because here's this 11-year-old trying to keep a household together essentially, and she's not able to step up at all.
No, I mean, there's only, I think, only so long she's going to be able to crest this wave, you know, of vodka swilling, boyfriend entertaining, joyride. I mean, that's all on one plane, on one level. I mean, it has to fall at some point. You know, then the wave has to turn, and it does. And I mean, you know, it's a flip-flop existence they have together.
That's what he says.
Yeah.
It's a flip-flop. Yeah.
Exactly.
And you do get the sense that because the first scene we meet them in, they're out on a joyride, she has brought the child with her, that we're at the peak of some sort of thing that can only go one way, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's actually at a crisis point.
I think so, yeah. And she's about, you know, just as Jason's about to turn 12, she's about to turn 30. You know, these are, you know, in a way, they're milestones, aren't they?
They are, but we treat them as such.
Yeah, and so, you know, the ages were, you know, carefully chosen for these reasons that they might be, you know, picked up on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You, as we heard from the stories that both Jean and Ruth read, they're both in the voice of children as it happens, and the novel is in the voice of a child.
Yeah.
And it's something you do very well. And I'm just wondering, is it a conscious place you go to, or is this coincidence, or how do you feel about writing in the voice of the child?
I don't know, it does actually hark back, and in a way it's great being here this evening, because, I mean, for some reason, I feel I had a very rich life up until the age of 12. I don't know why, again, it's that age before you start secondary school, before the teenage years kick in with all their attendant complications and distractions. But my own memories from being those years from 7 to 12, I just remember extensive and lengthy spells of freedom and just being able to, you know, be out on the streets. I mean, you know, with a couple of friends. Not at all like it is today, where you don't seem to be able to go beyond the corner of where you live from the you know, the search party is on the way out. But I remember being out on the streets in my own stomping ground here in Longford for hours and hours on end with one or two close friends, and we had great fun making it up as we went along. And for a long time, you know, as an adult, you know, all those memories came flooding back and wouldn't leave me, and I feel I had to just, literally write them out, you know.
And at the same time, you've managed to bring in the mythology that you so loved as a child.
Yeah.
And while not framing the story around it, really tastefully picking pieces that work. Like, there's a great cast of eccentrics in this book, the local townspeople, who actually are some of the kindest people to the child. Like the woman in the pub, Shirley, and the slug. They're kind to him. They see, as adults, he's sort of a little odd, but sure isn't he great, you know?
Yeah, and they keep half an eye out from time to time. Not all the time, but
Yeah, exactly, and they're like a chorus of Welsh.
That's right,
the
the so-called chorus, the Greek chorus. I mean, I think they're part of the glue that, you know, helps stitch the whole narrative together, you know, when he's out on his routes every day, and he bumps into some, if not all of them.
The thing about the mythology and his name being Jason, obviously, you know, ties in with Jason of Greece. Was his name always was mythology always part of the framework of this novel?
It was really. Jason was there early on. Ithaca was there. I mean, I had a feeling the title might change at some point, but that did not go away. The names of the characters did not go away. The girl came really early as well. I mean, I think there were probably 3 significant sort of breakthroughs or insights or imaginative leaps in the doing of the novel. I mean, the Jason's relationship with the girl, more or less from their first scene together at the swamp, I had a feeling I knew what that was about. The character of Ma, Jacinta, I mean, I wasn't sure what was in store for her, but as I alluded to there a few minutes ago, I mean, yeah, I eventually realised this woman is a natural born survivor, and she definitely needs and earns her place. But the last breakthrough was the fact that Jason is a self-harmer. And I mean, I was probably 3/4 way through a solid draft. I mean, at that point, and rewriting, yourself, we're rewriting all the time as we go. And I went back to the beginning to explore that.
Yeah.
So that was.
It's so interesting because when we read a novel, we read it as a seamless event almost.
Yeah.
We start, novels are like comfort blankets. We read them over the space of a week, saving them, eking them out when we're enjoying them so as not to get to the end too quickly. And it's interesting then, as a writer, that you're talking about these 3 leaps that happen and then the self-harm thing being woven in.
Yeah.
And yet it just seems like this.
Well, that's the challenge, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
and it's not even a challenge. I mean, it's a necessity. I mean, it has to be seamless. I mean, it'll just, the last thing you want to do is go shoehorning these, especially something as delicate and as important as that, that would not fly at all. At least I wouldn't be.
Yeah, if it
comfortable
came
with
at the
myself.
wrong time.
Yeah.
Mind you, as a short story writer, you're used to writing, in a sense, in episodes, fresh episodes each time.
Episode scenes, yeah.
I'm wondering now, because this is the question everybody wants to know, and you're thinking, just hang on, I'm only on this one. What, the next novel, do you have an idea for it? Have you started it?
Well, I do really, because that was one of the first things they said to me after breaking the fantastic news, that we're going to sit on this manuscript effectively for 12, well, it turned out to be 15 months, because they've had it since the end of 2015, and here we are, early 2017, and a lovely editor at Picador said to me, now you're going to have 2016, and this is a 2-book gig, so I'll let you figure out the rest yourself. This is going to be crucial time. Put the head down. And so, I mean, again, I'm offering myself on an even bigger plate here, but I had this female voice kicking around inside my head, probably the wrong side of 30, again, a little off-centre, very different kind of character, a very different kind of locale, but very much a contemporary narrative, and I tried to resist it for a while, but I wasn't able to. So I have some
Set in Ireland?
Classes. I think set in a west of Ireland coastal kind of location, but again, that will not be named. I don't think at any point or at any stage. Yeah, like she's just looking for another stomping ground, so to speak, another hinterland with which to tap.
Yeah.
And
wonderful, that sounds fantastic.
So that's female lead, contemporary, off-centre character, and she's had a lot of fun so far. And,
busy year though.
Yeah.
You're trying to write one novel and you're trying to put another one to bed in the sense there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes that people don't know about when it comes to rewriting and planning for now, planning everything that has to happen. So you must have had a very busy year.
I mean, your head would be frazzled, really. I mean, in a good way,
Well, you remember every so often to be thankful.
Oh, you
during the frazzle.
Certainly do. I mean, I know you do. I mean, of course, and then you catch yourself. Oh God, what am I going on? What am I going on about that for? I mean, our mutual friend Orla Foyle. She has a good. Oh, here comes Alan with his champagne problems. That shut me up fairly quickly when I started to, even hint at. Oh my God, I have so much
I
to
was-
do.
yeah, I
But it's
don't
great.
think- I do
It
think
is.
this
This is
is-
what we sign up
Yeah,
for.
and
It's
it's
fantastic.
said a lot, you know, but I mean, there are inherent difficulties with trying to write a book and edit another one into being.
Yeah, and you're using different parts of you, and they, you know, you can feel them grinding together, you know, like bad gears, and it does sort of, and you crave so much, you know this as well, you know, you're the solitary time and the quiet space, and essentially that particular energy where the juice, where the good stuff comes from.
Yeah.
And you don't want to tamper with that, or tamper with it as little as you can.
Exactly, you want to keep that time precious. Time is the most important thing to a writer.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's well and truly Longford launched now, and I want to congratulate you again and wish you the best of luck in Dublin tomorrow night for your third launch.
On a hat trick, yeah.
Yeah, and well done and fantastic.
Thanks very much, Nuala, for making that. Yeah, pretty straightforward. What a pro.
No tricks. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Nuala, for a wide-ranging and insightful interview.